Good morning. So, yesterday we talked about that behavior of someone who's been moved into an assisted living or a senior community of some type, and they're asking to go home, and how we can redirect and we can change the picture, and we can hopefully stave off some of that anxiety that comes with that. So, what it got me thinking about, um, as I was heading off to meetings and my day, was what is home? For many of us, it is a building. It is a structure of which we live in. But I don't think that's what really home means to most of us. Um, Home for me is a sense of belonging, a place of rest. And so the perfect example that I can use is I moved away from Kentucky, the place where I was born and raised, 23 years ago now, to California. So California is my home. I have a home here. I have a structure. I have a building that I live in, a home that I live in, and that's my home. But when I'm traveling back to Kentucky, I will say I'm going home. Does that make sense? I'm going home. I don't live there. I don't, for all realities, own a home there, own a house there, but I will say I'm going home because that's where I feel a belonging. I feel a cultural connection. I feel it's where my mom was until she passed away. So going home, oftentimes for many of us, is going back to mom's. So when our seniors, we deal with sundowners a lot of times, and we deal with that anxiety. So let's think about this. For me, I'm in a unique situation. My company's office is actually in my home. Um, the front part of it, there's four bedrooms that have been converted into office space. And so we have office, we have all of the everything. So my commute to work is amazing. It's literally down a hallway. My traffic is my dog. But the back side of the house is an apartment, and that's where I live. The front side, work. Back side, live. It's all the same building. It's all the same front door to enter it. It's all the same structure on the same property. My commute is literally nothing. But at the end of my day, sitting in my office, in my home structure, I will literally say, I want to go home. Now, what does that mean? I want to leave the place that I'm at, where work is, and I want to walk down that hallway and kind of around that little corner there, and I want to walk into the apartment side. I want to go home because I want that rest. I want the rest that home brings. I want the peace that home brings. I want to leave work at work, and I want to go home. So let's think about this, and I'm going to stretch everyone a little bit. During the day, I'm fine. I can handle all the meetings. I can handle all the phone calls. I can be inundated with all kinds of things all day long, and I am oftentimes. But there comes a time, even if I'm going to stay up and work late, there comes a time in that day, and it's usually around my dinner hour. So it's usually as everybody's winding up, 4:30, 5 o'clock, where I can get a little anxious of I want to go home. Now, I'm already there. I'm not going to get in my vehicle. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm going to walk down a hall. But I get a little bit of an anxiety that I want to go home. I want my place of rest. So, and I can come back to work afterwards, but I need to have that time. Now, let's put ourselves into the brain of someone who is cognitively impaired. Let's go there for just a moment. Possibly all of the sundowner symptoms that come on at about that time of day aren't are tied to wanting that place of rest, wanting that sense of belonging, wanting that sense of being, wanting maybe their spouse to walk through the door after a long day's work, maybe go home themselves after a day's worth of work, maybe have their children come and be at the dinner table. They're wanting that familiar feeling of peace and rest. And because even if they're in their own home, things don't click, things don't line up, the dots don't connect anymore. Possibly what you're dealing with is the anxiety of not feeling connected, of not feeling like you're in that right place, and feeling like you're a stranger in your own home, even though these are the walls that we call home. This is the walls where I sit in this podcast room, in this recording room. These are underneath, this is under the roof of what I call home. But right now I'm not home. I'm at work. When I turn the corner, I'm at home. So I feel a different purpose in my spirit, in who I am, when I'm at work versus when I'm at home. So our seniors, our aging population, our folks that are dealing with that cognitive impairment, that struggle with the sundowners, where they're just anxious and can get angry, get truly angry because they're trying to achieve something. And so we go from being peaceful all day long to all of a sudden, here's this time of the day that we're just really struggling. And very possibly it could be, I just need to feel like I'm where I belong and where I fit in. And I don't feel like I fit in anywhere because of brain impairment. How do we handle that? Everything with our dementia patients is always the same thing. It's validating the feelings and understanding that these are real anxieties. These are real feelings. So validate them, and then redirect and divert and do the best you can do in the midst of a ever changing, everyday changing world. Because what works today, be ready, is not going to work tomorrow, and may not work the next day, or may work the next day. So you have to be prepared to always be changing and doing it differently. But something to think about today. Till tomorrow. Thanks for the coffee.